Welcome to Soundbreaker. In today's episode, we're talking to David Ronan from Roex. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah,
Thanks. Great. Thanks for joining us today. For our listeners who might not be familiar with you, could you please introduce yourself just a little bit before we dive into it?
no worries. Yeah, thanks for having me, Bob.
My
So my
pleasure.
name's David Ronan. I'm the founder and CEO of Roex. So we're a deep tech company. We're a spin out from the Centre for Digital Music at Queen Mary University of London. At a high level, I guess what we do is we build tools and we have software that give musicians the confidence they need to release music. So that's at a very high level. But at a more kind of lower level, we basically have tools for mixing, for mastering, cleaning up audio,
Yes.
QAing your
Great.
music before it goes out.
This is amazing. I know we're going to get into it more and more detail as the interview go forward. Is it possible for you to take us a bit backwards, back in your teenage or earlier than that, how your whole passion for, should I say, music or tech or music tech started? Was it family influence or group or friend or just you naturally find the love for music and music tech?
Yeah, I guess like for me, I kind of grew up uh, mainly getting like listening to a lot of electronic music, so like techno, jungle, IDM, like very kind of underground kind of music. I guess kind of stuff that was on the fringe. Like Warp Records would have been a big feature in my life. So artists like Aphex Twin, Square Push are very really pushing the frontiers of music. So I was always kind of into that, and that was the kind of music that I learned how to create, I guess. And
Mm,
it's just always had me into basically getting into music tech eventually. So I eventually did actually end up doing a master's at the University of Limerick. I'm from Ireland originally, and
yeah.
that kind of really because that really kind of got me into the music tech side of things because I come from a very other than that technical background.
Interesting. Um, your musical journey began in Limerick, which you just mentioned, in Ireland,
Yeah.
where you played in bands and explored genres like EDM, jungle, techno. How did these early music experiences shape your approach to founding Roex and pioneering AI powered mixing in the music production industry?
Yeah, I guess like as I said, because there were a lot of those like the artists I listened to were very like really pushing the boundaries of music, using like really interesting like sound design techniques and really lots of obviously synthesizers and very advanced types of synthesis. Learning how that worked, and then obviously being very interested in creating music myself. I guess, as I said, I went and I studied a master's in music tech. That's when I really kind of learned like how deep these things can go, and I ended up really getting into synthesis, audio synthesis myself. And and I think it was during that time when I was learning how to mix and master as part of my studies that like I realized that maybe there's a potential here for using tech to automate some of these processes as well.
Very interesting. Very interesting. What pivotal moments or milestones have defined Rowick's journey so far, and how these achievements inform your future goals and directions for the company?
Yeah, I guess I would say since we're a small team, we're about 13 people now. I guess every person who's joined the team has been quite pivotal because like everyone, as I said, we're a small team, so everyone comes along and small team. It really shapes the journey and what we're doing, and everyone's kind of added things. So we're a team of like a lot of us have PhDs who come from music
Mm,
tech backgrounds. Some of us are mixed mastering engineers. Some of us have worked in some very large music tech companies. So I think a lot of the team has really been instrumental. But from like in terms of a product perspective, like our first kind of big splash, I suppose, was we launched a free tool in last year that was called Mix Check Studio, which was
mhm.
effectively a tool that will allow you to drag and drop a piece of audio. It'll analyze it and it'll tell you what's wrong with it and how to fix it. So it was using AI in the background. So what happened was we actually got in Music Radar. They mentioned us as one of the most innovative products of 2023, and that was our kind of first splash.
Mm,
And then September last year, we launched our flagship product, which is AutoMix, which is our mix and mastering platform.
correct,
So,
correct.
so they've been the two, yeah, the main kind of milestones so far, I guess.
I mean, you don't have to answer, but who would you think your competitors out there? What big competitors that you would think, and what kind of separates you from them? Just curious.
Yeah, so I mean, like our because our main thing is mixing, and that kind of what kind of separates us from a lot of the other companies out there. So if you catch like I mean, I'd say 13 years ago, Landra came on the scene, and they did
Correct.
AI mastering.
Yeah.
And up until then, there's been a few other mastering services out there, but no one has done mixing. Not in the way we've done it anyway. Obviously, there's tools that you can use in the DAW, Isotope, do things like that. But there's never been a platform where you can upload your tracks, get a mixed and mastered track back. So I guess that's what's kind of separated us from what's out there at the moment.
You mentioned also you can drop your audio too, so you could do the music. You can master the music production and also the audio. Correct, both.
Yes, so you would drag and drop. You take your stems or recordings, you can drag and drop into the app.
Yeah, yeah,
You can provide. We can do a bit of cleanup if they're come from less than ideal recordings, and you provide
correct.
some very basic settings that
Yeah,
will give you a mix back. And then if you want to master it, then we can do that as well. So we're end to end basically. You can then you're ready to submit it to distribution services like Spotify or wherever it is you want, Bandcamp or SoundCloud.
great. I mean, all the sometimes I get a little technical detail just for our audience to be in line on your platform and the product that you built. Uh, Roex aims to redefine the paradigm of music production, particularly through its emphasis on AI powered mixing. Could you elaborate on how Roex differentiates itself in the market and how its innovative approach, mixing technology, sets it apart from competitors? Which is kind of like I just asked the question before.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, I guess for us, like the way we're approaching it is
Yes.
kind of like Instagram filters. For like Instagram filters came along for photography.
Yes.
Everyone became a great photographer then. I guess
Yes.
that's what we're trying to do with Roex. You know, we're it's aimed at people who are incredibly creative,
Mhm.
but when it comes to doing mix and match, any of that kind of technical stuff, they're just like, no, not for me. And you know,
Mhm.
and like the thing is about that is like if you want to mix or master your own track, you either a have to learn how to do it, which is a
Mhm.
huge learning curve, or else you
Correct.
pay someone to do it, and that can be very expensive, especially mixing. Mixing is particularly expensive because it takes a lot longer. So it's allowing people like that to basically get their music out there when they necessarily was something they would really struggle with.
Great. Um, AutoMix is touted as Roex flagship product, offering musicians the ability to produce professional level mixes, in minutes, which is amazing. Could you share more about the features and the capabilities of AutoMix and how it revolutionizes the music production process for artists?
Yeah, well, I guess I mean the first you just said it there. It takes minutes, so I mean that's the first thing because normally mixing a track can take hours, if not days, depending on your skill level.
Yes,
And as
correct.
well, I mean, if you want to get a track mixed, you're looking at if you go on Fiverr, I mean, it could be $100 to get a track just mixed, and if you want to get it mastered, that's more. And then if you're talking to professionals, you're talking thousands per track. So what
Correct.
we provide is a service that at very low cost you can get your track mixed. It can be done in minutes. You have infinite revision. So if you're not happy with it, you can tweak it until you get there, and you only essentially pay for what you download. And we do all the kind of corrective mixing that's involved in creating a track. So we let you focus on all the creative stuff you want to do, and then we take care
Mhm.
of kind of all the legwork.
Hmm, interesting. Um, Roex is pioneering AI powered mixing in the music production industry. Could you delve into the development process behind the innovative technology and how it enhances the mixing experience for musicians compared to traditional methods?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I suppose it's probably best to tell you like the Roex is rooted I did a PhD at Queen Mary, so it's very much rooted in the work I did there. So when I
Oh,
first started, like when I finished my PhD, I would say I had like the kind of the makings of a mixing system, but
so should we call you Dr. David then?
no,
Hey,
only in academic circles. I think not.
you earned it.
Yeah, thank
You
you.
did earn the title, my friend. Definitely.
I'd
I'm
be
gonna change
useless.
that.
I'd be useless in an emergency. That's for sure.
Change my introduction. We are with Dr. David Ronan. Yes.
But yeah, so I guess by the end of my PhD, I had something that would only work in a lab. So I mean, it was awful. It was basically you could only mix four tracks that were in mono, and it would
Yeah.
take you a day to get a result, and it wasn't even that good. So I had to take something that was very much lab into a useful product that people use. So that was a mammoth task. It was lots of optimization and trying to get it to run in the cloud as well was a big thing. But
Yeah.
luckily, I had just a wonderful team around me to help me get there. And I guess as well, like I'm not a professional mix engineer, but my colleagues are, and they really, really helped me to kind of tune it and really make it sound as good as it could possibly be.
You mentioned about your team. You said you have 13 you're 13 of you in the Roex team, and a lot of them are PhD, partners and all of that. So I didn't look at TechCrunch. Honestly, I should. Are you guys self-backed or funded, or have
We
or
Yeah, we took in some VC investment just before, not Christmas gone, the Christmas before. So very
Mhm,
small round, but other than that, we've been kind of fueling it through. Like the UK is really good for grants, so we've been very lucky. We've got a Royal Academy Engineering grant. We've got two Innovate UK grants, which have been really useful because we very much come from we're a research kind of R&D led company. So I guess
mhm.
what we're doing is very cutting edge. So it like not that it's easy to get grants, but it does help a lot. And the fact that we're a spin
Absolutely,
out, yeah, it does. And the fact that we're a
yeah.
spin out from the university as well obviously helps as well because we have access to say talent that you wouldn't necessarily normally have if you're not a spin out because it's a huge research group the university have.
Wow, well, amazing! You heard it, kids out there. If you want to start your own, there is, and you are from the UK. There is some grants out there. I think in Canada they also have certain grants like this,
Yeah,
similar.
I've heard that. I've
Yes,
heard that.
yes, for startups and everything else, I guess. Um, how did your journey from playing in bands to founding Roex shape your vision for revolutionizing music production? And what unique insights from your musical background have fueled Roex mission?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I remember the first time I opened. I mean, I never obviously when I grew up, like I didn't have access to a music studio. But I remember the first time I opened up a DAW. I
Yeah.
think it was. I think it was Fruity Loops. It must. Yeah, it was. It was Fruity Loops, and then I progressed to Reason. Then I went to Ableton. But anyway, the point was that I looked at it and I was like, my God,
Yeah.
how do I use this thing? And it's just so many like understanding how MIDI works, and it's just a huge steep learning curve. And obviously,
Yeah.
like you can get some stuff off the internet, but like it took me a while. It took me a long time to get good at what I was doing. And then it was only until I actually did my masters that I learned how to mix and master. That like I had some kind of formal education in mix and mastering. So it was a really steep learning curve, and the music I was making before I learned to mix and master, like it was fine musically, but like it didn't sound professional. You know what I mean? It just sounded fuzzy. You know what I mean? It just sounded poorly mixed, obviously. So I guess like that really
Yes.
shaped the journey in terms of like I like okay, there's so much to learn, and if we can simplify that process for someone who's just getting into music, I mean it's just a great thing to be able to do. As I said, there's a lot of people out there who are very creative, but just don't have the
Yes.
technical know-how. Or don't like when they see like a compressor, they'd be just they're like oh. Because they are complicated things ultimately. So oh, sorry, I lost you there.
Yes. Now we're here.
No.
Looking ahead, what your aspirations for Roex in the evolution of music production technology, and how do you envision your innovative solution shaping the future landscape of the industry?
Yeah. So I would say, I mean, I think I mentioned we've been very lucky with grants. So we just won a really, I hopefully by the, yeah, so we just won a really good grant recently, Innovate UK grants. And
Mm,
it's kind of like an ethical AI approach where we're going to get to work with very famous mix engineers and learn their creative mixing style. So currently, the system we have is very much a corrective system. I think I mentioned that already. But the next kind
mm,
of evolution of it is to learn a creative mixing style. So one of our advisors actually is a guy called Rich Keller. He's 47 times platinum, 8 times Grammy nominated mixer. He's like works in hip. He's like an OG of hip hop. He's worked with DMX. He's worked with Snoop Dogg. Anyway, very very well established thing. So he's going to be our guinea pig for this. So we're going to learn how Rich's creative style is, and then be able to offer that as software. And the idea is that like obviously we're not just going to train on Rich's style without his permission. We're going to work with him, and then the idea is that we'll have a revenue share agreement
great.
where he can basically make money while he sleeps. So like if the idea is that like you could go to Rich, you go to his website, okay, you can like pay for him to mix your track, which obviously would be expensive because he's got a lot of accolades. or you could use these AI, which would be
Yes.
obviously a lot less expensive. And then if you really like that, you can take it, or else you go, okay, I really like this. I could just, now I really like Rich's style. I'm going to work with him. So I think that's kind of like one of the main kind of drives for us, I guess, over the next year. The other thing is that we're working on, I guess, for us is DAW integration. At the
Mm.
moment, we live in the cloud, and we're
Yes.
not really at the point of musical creation. So for us to be there is the best day out for us, and we're currently working on a partnership with a DAW at the moment. So I think that's going to be really exciting for us and a really good proof point, because
Oh.
the good thing about that as well is like currently we're aimed at like people who are just happy to submit their tracks, give us the basic settings, and get their mix back. But at the point we're in a DAW, we can become like a suggestive tool. You know what I mean? They'll be like, we could like you could just push the AI mix button.
Hmm.
We'll suggest how you should suggest your compressor, how to suggest how to set your EQ. If you're
Yeah.
happy with it, great. If you're not, maybe it'll get you 90% of the way there. You can tweak it to your liking. So that's kind of our main charge for the next year. So which is very exciting.
Interesting. A lot of great things coming up. A lot of great things in the bag, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Very interesting. Yes. You had an incredible journey so far. The music industry, it's known for its challenges and setbacks. Can you share a difficult moment you faced in your career and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I guess for me, like basically before I started Roex, I was the head of research at a company called AI Music. I was there for 4.5 years, and they that happened just after my PhD. And after my PhD, basically when I finished my PhD, I didn't
Hmm.
have any startup experience. I didn't have much money. I live in London. London's expensive, and so I went and I worked for this company called AI Music, and we successfully exited to Apple at the end of it. At that point, I had a big decision
Oh,
to make.
congratulations.
Thank you. At
I,
that
ho- I
point,
hope you had some equity in it.
yeah, well, it helped in starting Roex for sure. Yeah, but I guess at
Good.
that point, though, I had the opportunity to go to Apple, but I decided not to because I always wanted to start Roex because I knew that I had something, and obviously that was a huge decision to make. I just had a small baby at the time, and then I was starting from scratch again. So that like just being able to yeah to start from nothing again on my own was a big challenge. I mean, every entrepreneur obviously goes through it, but obviously for the first 6 to 9 months, I was doubting like, have I made the right decision? It's you've just set up the website, you're putting stuff out in LinkedIn, and you're just basically shouting into the void effectively, because you've got no following, and that's quite daunting. But I mean, I guess it's just important to believe in what you're building, know that you have, like I knew that I had a solution. It's just a case of like
Yes.
refining it, maturing it. I mean, the first our MVP obviously was 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 embarrassing. It's meant to be. But the idea is that you test that, you get some confidence from that. It's just
Hmm.
this beautiful feedback loop that you'll get. You won't know until you put something out there if it's going to work or not. I think that is what you need to do as quick as possible. Yeah, and it's just getting that MVP first because it just really gives you that confidence boost that you need to keep going. Because people will hate it and some people will like it. And that's fine. But like you just keep refining and you keep moving.
Interesting. Good advice. Um, let's see. In your opinion, what are some common misconception people have about the music industry?
Yeah, I don't think I'm not aware of any misconceptions, but I have worked in other industries, and I worked in like I did long time ago. I worked in like radar and sonar guides, which is like just very engineering role, and then I moved
Yeah.
into the music industry, and I found just the difference. Like nothing against those other industries, but just I found people just so much nicer because I
In
think
the
it's
music
because
industry.
yeah, I think so because like especially like definitely music tech because everyone we're all bound together by this one thing we all really love, which is music. So you can
Yeah.
talk about music, you can
Yes.
share
Correct.
music at work. You're creating cool music tech, essentially. And I just found that like people generally are a lot more excited about what they're doing. They might not necessarily if you're
Hmm.
working on sonar systems for oil exploration, it's not exactly as exciting as creating music tech, well, in my opinion, anyway. So I mean, I think that for me that was what was very refreshing. It was just like I'd say 99% of the people I've met through my whole journey have just been wonderful and just very collaborative in nature. I guess that's it's been great. Yeah. I don't know what the misconceptions are. If I'm being honest.
Well, I love the positive outlook on it, and positive advice. I like that. I like it. As you know, collaboration often a key element in the music world. Could you share a memorable, collaboration story or someone you work with that left an impact on you?
I mean, it goes without saying. Obviously, everyone working at Roex has been an amazing collaboration so far, but that obviously
Mm.
goes without saying. But I mean, I would say some of the team that I worked with at AI Music before this. I mean, some of the most wonderful and smart people. I'm not going to name names, but like I work with some incredible people, and we went through lots of peaks and troughs as you do in the startup world, and we really stuck through a lot of the adversity. And I think they're all work. A lot of them are working at Apple now, and it's just yeah, like they were some of the most inspiring people I worked with. Honestly, they were just like because we all drew strength from each other, if you will, because there was a lot of tough times, and but it obviously it all worked out really well in the end.
You know what? You are one of the few people that you had nothing negative to say, always positive, and I like that. I like that. Always positive about everything and nothing, no hardship. You took everything and spun it to a positive thing, which is
I was gonna say you should if you'd spoken to me before I've had coffee, it might have been different, but
but definitely, this is great. I love that. Yes, if you have, you always have two sides. If you look at the positive side, things could work out the right way and just keep going forward. You look at the negative, you can procrastination, excuses, and yes, oh, I wish, and this, I complain. It doesn't get you nowhere. I love your style, David. Amazing. And that's why
thank
you're
you.
making it, my friend. That's why you're succeeding and you're doing
Ah,
well. Yes.
thank you
I
so
mean, this
much.
is for our listeners, the sound breakers, and our viewers. Learn. Please do learn. We have a gentleman right here. He went through it all. No, zero, zero negative thing. No
Keep going.
hardship. Yes, the road was always smooth to him. I have an old say. It says the road to success always under construction. But in his case, the road to success always been smooth. I love that.
Well, I
Yes,
don't
it
know.
depends how you
Not
look at
always
it.
been smooth, but yeah.
um, for our listeners and viewers who are going to be inspired and aspired by you, by your story, by your words and attitude, and how you look at things and what you established and accomplished, they, what's your advice to them? As you know, the music industry has a lot of gatekeeping. And so, how to avoid what to do, what not to do. If they want to take the same path you did into music tech, it's like, okay, you know what? I read this gentleman, David, inspired me to do it. And what's your advice to them? What's to avoid, not to what to do, what to do?
Yeah, I think like from a music tech perspective, it's fine. You need to find a problem that hasn't been solved. I mean, it's an obvious one, but like if you're not solving a problem, I mean, then what are you really doing? You know what I mean? It's I think that's important. But being genuine and being honest, I think really has served me well, and being honest with all my colleagues has always been has worked well for me. But I think like getting stuff out there quickly and testing it is so important because like we you live and die by your feedback ultimately, and the fact you need to be talking to customers, you need to be talking to users, constantly iterating. I think like the first, as I said, I mentioned already, the first thing you put out there is not going to be, it's not going to win the hearts and minds of the internet. And that's fine, you know what I mean? You will learn so much, and you just need to be constantly moving and evolving. And and don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. I think that's the other thing. Rely on your friends and family. I mean, I was lucky to have such when I first started Rolex. I just very lucky to have such supportive friends and family who were. So it's daunting. It is, as I said, it's really hard to begin with. And I think, yeah, don't be afraid to do that, and just keep moving, keep evolving, keep talking to people. And I think that's the best thing you can do.
I hope everybody's listening. Um, I noticed I've been in the music business myself for many years. I had a record label, a distribution company, and I started back in the vinyl days and cassette days. So I've been through it all. And I noticed in the past, I would say 4, 5 years, a lot of the success in the music business actually coming from platforms and companies like yourself, tools that eliminates the physical aspect of it. like mixing, going to a
Hmm.
mixing studio. I remember I'm from New York. Back in the day, we used to, every song we do, we used to have to take it to do a mix down, and mix down. Then you take it to mastering, and from mastering, then you take it to the manufacturing plant where you could do your vinyl. Sometimes they used to do mix. They do the mastering there. You trust them, you don't trust them, but some of the manufacturing plants started to to do a better job in mastering the music before you put on vinyl and all of this.
Hmm.
But yes, so I notice tools, whether it's AI driven or not, but the majority lately, mostly AI. And major success I've been seeing tools. Everybody coming out with tools. You mentioned Instagram when they came out with that filtering tool and other tools that created by what is it, Snapchat, and then Facebook did it, and all of that.
Hmm.
So, tools, is this the way to go if you're in the music tech? Tools that see what's missing in the music business, what needed, and go create the tools. Do you see the success in that? That's the path to take?
Well,
Because
I
it looks
think
like there's two sides in the music business now.
yeah. I mean, I guess the thing
Yeah.
is, like, people like to see quick results. Quick and like quick
Correct.
and results that make them feel good
Yes.
about themselves. And the more you
Yes.
can unlock that, I think the better it is. Where, as you said before, like if you're waiting for a mix, before, if you didn't have these tools, you're waiting days, it could be, and then you have to wait on to mastering. It's just long time and before you even get your music out there. And I
Yes.
think there's also the thing where we're probably now in the age of where people's attention spans are a lot shorter as well, with the likes of TikTok and Instagram. So I guess that's part of it. People just want instant gratification and just get stuff out there, I guess. But I guess the other thing for like now for musicians is they have so many other things to be doing. It's not just it's they have to worry about the songwriting, they have to worry about the recording, then they have to worry about the mixing, the mastering, the marketing. There's a lot of DIY artists now, so there's so many different things to
Correct.
do
Yes.
to be successful. Tools like these obviously help you run faster and do it is get you where you want to be.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think that's part of the appeal as well. A lot like the whole the kind of the label music label kind of model is not as appealing as it used to be.
Not
Essentially, a
anymore.
lot of people
No.
it's becoming a lot
Correct.
more music's getting a lot more decentralized. I mean, you have platforms like Bandcamp, so
Yes.
I think it's just the DIY movement to a certain extent.
Um, you know, a little bit outside the tech as well. It is kind of a tech thing, but just a general question. Do you think, or what's your, how should I say, in your little crystal ball, what do you think the future going to bring as far as distribution? Is it going to still be DSPs dealing with Spotify or dealing with aggregators for artists? How do, how do you think the game going to change? Your opinion and your vision.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm seeing stuff come through that, like the Web3 blockchain trying to change the kind of the model.
Hmm.
I don't really know enough about it yet to say, but I know a lot of smart people who are very interested, and they see this as the way to go. Um, like giving more power. I think all about giving more power to the artists, because obviously artists don't make a whole lot of money these days.
No.
And
No.
I think anything that can help artists make make more money, get rewarded for their artistic content, is the better, because then there's more content out there, more amazing art, and people are encouraged to do it. So I don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. I'm a little bit worried about AI gen tools, to be honest, training on copyright material.
Hmm.
That's like, obviously there's a lot of court cases going on at the moment. I think that's a big worry, to be honest, because ultimately all this stuff is, if it's trained on if it's
Yeah.
trained on copyright material, that these poor artists aren't getting compensated for their work, and it's obviously amazing work in the first place. It's just, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and I hope that gets resolved where there is a licensing model where artists can be fairly compensated for that.
I'm all for technology. I'm a big tech fan, big AI fan, all to it. To me, it just, I don't want to see the integrity of the music and artists to be
Yeah,
diluted.
exactly.
We all know you're a musician. I'm not a musician, I say it, but a music man. And I say that music is comes from a deeper place than just a machine. It comes from pain, from happiness, from culture, from
Exactly.
experiences, from history, whether it's hip hop or country music or folk music, jazz. all genres. It comes from somewhere. It comes from experiences, from pain,
Struggles.
as I said,
Yeah.
struggles, or happiness and history, and culture. Let's not forget the culture that it represents and all of
Yeah.
that. So AI could be trained, but it doesn't have that feeling like a cook. An AI machine could actually create, but he doesn't remember his grandma's recipe. He doesn't remember when he was in war, when he was a kid, and that's what's available if you came from certain parts of the world and you came to America or UK, and the spices, and each spice represents the culture too. It's the same thing. There's certain thing to me, painting, anything to do with creativity, art, creativity. Even I think food is also an art
Yeah.
because you're feeding people. You touching a different, not their feelings, this more their palates, but still it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're creating things and present it to the public where they like it, be fascinated by it. So I'm all for AI, but to replace certain things, definitely not. I would say as a tool to enhance, to make things
Exactly.
faster, to
Exactly.
advance our purpose and advance humanity, like from using a carriage and a horse to using a car and soon a flying car,
Yeah.
or self-driven, there's certain things I would say yes, but others I'm definitely against, like selling a home, a realtor.
Yeah.
You need that personal interaction. You do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
they're worth the commission. They sell you a lifestyle. They understand what you're looking for. Certain things I don't think should be replaced. Should not be replaced at all. I'm not
No.
a. I could be. Go ahead,
No, I was
please.
just going to say, like, even in our context, like someone's asked me, oh, like, is this tool there to replace mix engineers? I was like, not really. I think it's an assistive tool. But like, if you ever sit down with a mix engineer, you're explaining the emotion of the song, you're conveying the
Yes.
emotion of the song to
Yes.
them, and they're kind of interpreting,
Yes.
like, okay, maybe the strings need to go up this part to kind of really drive that message home, essentially. So no, I agree, and
Yes.
it's I think, as you said, you've hit the number. Emotion is at the core of it, and until the AI starts understanding emotion, I think we're in the clear. But if they do,
Well, then we're
we
gonna
should
be
be worried really.
replaced. Then we'll be in hybrid humans. Yes, yes. Um, Amazing and incredible interview, my friend. I love it. I enjoyed it for sure, and I hope our listeners and viewers really will, benefit from it on your journey. Anything that you want to advertise, promote, or mention that you coming up with in the next month or 2 or 3 to look for, mention your platform, please make it all about you and your platform and your innovative creation.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, yeah, we've got loads of cool new features coming out in AutoMix in the next few months. We're expanding the amount of tracks you can mix. I think it's one of our most requested features.
Yes.
It's going to become a lot more real time, more interactive. So you're going to get a lot more instant results. So we've got loads of cool
Yes.
stuff cooking. We've got another project that's a bit more secret squirrel. I can't say too much about it. So you'll have to
Yeah.
keep an eye on socials for that. But it's all interesting stuff, and I'm looking forward to share it with everyone.
Amazing. Well, sadly, every great things have to come to an end.
Yeah.
So I would say, but firstly, I think title this interview, call it David Ronan positive interview or Dr. David Ronan positive interview. I love that. It's full of positivity, full of motivation for everybody, and first of all, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank
And
you
this
for having me.
conclude absolutely. This concludes today's episode of Soundbreaker. Please make sure to follow us on socials and stay tuned for our new episode. See ya. And thank you very much.
Bye bye. Thanks.
My pleasure. Thank you. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share the Soundbreaker podcast. And if you are joining us on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.